Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Good afternoon. My name is Leigh Bella Ralston. On behalf of Faber-Castell, I'd like to welcome all of you. It's such a beautiful day today. Hey, girl. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see familiar names are popping in the chat. And of course, before I get started here, I would like to give you guys a chance to say hello to everybody. We're all creatives and we're having fun here. So I'd like to give you the opportunity to just kind of like share with us where you guys are joining us from. I am broadcasting live from Texas. Believe it or not, it's a beautiful day. It is not hot. So hello, everybody. Today we are going to be what's better than ice cream and art, right? So that's what we're going to do today. And we are going to be working with my favorite Albrecht. You know, this is really hard because it's a German. Yeah? Albrecht Durer, an artist. So this is the Albrecht. I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but Albrecht Durer watercolor pencils. So that's what we're going to be using today. And let me go move on to my screen so I can see. So the Albrecht Durer, let me look at this. And while I'm working on my pencils here to show on the camera, I'd like to say hello to everybody. All right, let me see. Hey, Charla, is it Charla? Charla from Michigan. We have some friends joining in from Canada. Hi, Lisa. Hey, Gabriel. Hey, Krista from East Texas. Hey, neighbor. I don't even know what part of Texas I am, so I'm close to Houston, the Umber area. I always say I just moved here, but it's been 2 years now, so I cannot use that excuse. So hello. Krista is from Texas, too. Hello there. Hey, Angie. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Laquita. Hey. Oh, my goodness. So many of you guys are joining in. Hey, Sophie. Hey, Sherry. Hello. Hey, Linda. Hey, Tina. How are you? I hope you guys are all doing well. I really want to talk about, before we get started, I really want to talk about the star of today's class. So let me see. I want to make sure I can see my screen in here so I can see your chat as well. So these are the Faber-Castell, the Albrecht Durer pencils, watercolor pencils. And honestly, guys, this is no joke. I fell in love with these pencils the very first time that I've tried them. Look how gorgeous. Look how gorgeous they are. The color range is just chef's kiss. There's like 120 colors available. They glide very smoothly on the paper, but what makes them really special though is that they are watercolor pencils, right? So you can use them dry or you can activate it just like a watercolor with some little bit of water, and then you get that dreamy watercolor effect. But what I really love is how pigmented they are. They are very, very pigmented, and a little goes a long way. So you don't have to use a whole lot because just a little, you're like, boom. Once you add that water, boom, it just blooms into this beautiful, vibrant wash of color. And also, because they're made with high quality artist pigments, these are artist quality. They are a little pricey, but I'm telling you, you get what you pay for. It is absolutely 100% worth it. The colors, they stay rich and they stay high intense even after drying. Another thing though that I adore, it may be a little thing for you guys, but look at this hexagonal shape. I love this thing because they're super comfy to hold. As I get older and the more art I create, holding a pencil can sometimes be a hindrance because my carpal tunnel, it's not me, it doesn't feel good. But this one is super easy and very comfortable to hold, and they don't roll off your desk. Come on, if you're like me, anything like me, I am just constantly knocking things over. That's a small but very, very mighty detail. So if you've been curious about this, today is the day we get to play with them. We get to create beautiful art. Like what I said, what's better than art and some ice cream? So that's what we're going to do. And then other materials, aside from the pencils, we're going to need some pencils, the watercolor pencils, I should say. We're going to need some pencils in here. I'm going to use my favorite jumbo pencils because, like what I mentioned, the carpal tunnel, as you get older, that's a senior thing. Eraser, like me, I make lots of mistakes. Eraser is my best friend. Just have a sharpener just in case, but these are great solid pencils, and that's one thing I love about them because they're high quality. You don't have to always sharpen them. They keep their point, and the way it's glued from the cedar wood, it's just absolutely amazing. So you'll fall in love. Since we're going to work with watercolors, we're going to need some clean water. We're going to need some round brushes. I'm going to use a number, I think this is a number 5 and a number 0, so 2 different sizes. Well, I just need a number 5 here, but you know, just in case I have a smaller fine tip as well. A watercolor paper or a mixed media paper will work. Paper towel, you need this because one thing that's a little frustrating when you're working with watercolors is that ratio from, you know, between the water and the amount of pigments. But we're going to play today because we're almost going to, it's almost going to feel like we're using 2 media because we'll be using the pencil, the watercolor pencils as a pencil, kind of like coloring with just the color pencils. And then we're going to blend, mix, and we're going to work it just like a watercolor. All right, so are you ready? I'm going to stop talking. I talk a lot, but we're going to tackle so much today. So I want to make sure that I cover everything. But I'm going to grab my notebook in here just to show you how simple it is, because I know a lot of you guys are saying, well, Lay, I don't really draw a lot. I don't think I can draw that ice cream. I'm telling you, yes, you can. We're going to draw simple shapes, all right? I'm kidding you not. Here we go. I'm going to go zoom this in, make sure that I have you guys. Grab your pencils first. If you want to grab like a scratch paper, don't do it onto your pretty colored watercolor paper. That's fine. But I just really want to show you how quick and easy this is going to be. Now we're going to draw an upside down triangle. I'm going to show you the easy part first because it's like basic shapes. Now we're going to draw 3 circles. And we're going to overlap these circles. I'm going to draw the second one. It doesn't have to be perfect circle. And then we're going to draw the third one. That's the base. That's the start. The only thing that's going to, you know, be a long time is the rendering. And I know I'm going to hear this question is, what is rendering? Rendering when it comes to art is really just depends on the amount of lifelike art that you want to create. Do you want to create, you know, make it like a 3D where there's a lot of highlights and shadows? And that is usually the longest part of my art making, is that, you know, sometimes I just can't. I want to add more contrast, and that can take hours. So I need to stop talking and let's get started. I'm going to do the same thing now, but with an HB pencil. So you guys might not see it a whole lot, but basically the same thing. And I'm going to try not to make I probably would make it a little wider. Sorry, I'm going to grab my eraser here. So I'm using a 9x12 watercolor paper, but I want to make my waffle cone. I want to know who's team waffle cone in here. Just my upside down triangle. You can't see it. I know you can't because it's really, really light. And when I'm sketching, it has to be really light because, you know, you're going to do a lot of mistakes. And so when you sketch hard like me, I try to be intentional with my sketching because I have heavy hands. So I'm like, I try to go as light as possible. But again, guys, we're going to start with upside down triangle and 3 overlapping circles, right? Or ellipse. Okay, so I'll start with my first. I'm making this way too big. I'm getting too excited. I need to calm myself down. You guys are making me super excited. All right, 1. I know. Hold on 1 second, guys. I want to make sure that I see your chats in here. Chat. All right. So I love ice cream. Team waffle cone, Lisa. I know our BFFs. All right. So second one, I'm going to draw my second overlapping ellipse like that. And I'm going to draw my third one. I probably made this way too crazy big, but you know what? It's okay. I'll adjust my waffle cone. We'll probably make it a little bigger too. All right. So like what I said, it might look very light to you, but can you see this is mine? And then we're going to start cleaning up the sketches. Not perfectly, just enough. So maybe there's some lines that will confuse you later on. Okay, so next step would be to erase everything that in the middle. So everything that overlaps, we're going to be left with this 3 humps on both sides. So I'm just going to erase all the overlappings in the middle part. I'll be left with that 3 humps on both sides. So 1, 2, 3. And yes, you know, I try not to be overly careful with my circles this time, because trust me, before, when I'm trying to be so careful, what happens is that it's looking a bit more like cartoonish. So I realize, and the more I practice, I've learned that the more I'm like really relaxed with my strokes, the better it is. It's more natural. All right, so I'm just going to adjust my ellipse in here. I think I'm just going to make this a little taller on the top. All right. So now we're left with 3 humps. It's looking a little weird, but this is going to be an ice cream. This one is funky. So if you guys have like funky sides, now is a chance to kind of like fix that. Okay. That's right, Rich. Go big or go home when it comes to ice cream. Oh, I didn't talk about the colors. The colors, guys, I was thinking of making, I don't know, it's going to sound weird because all 3 together, but strawberry, this is a make-believe world, okay? So I have pistachio, a chocolate. Now, those 2 are going to taste really good. I don't know. Maybe the pistachio, strawberry, and chocolate is a good combination. So we'll have 3 ice cream scoops in here. All right, so we'll start with the top. Now, from the top, it's not going to get harder, I promise you. It's so much easier. This time we don't even have to try, because we're going to draw wavy lines. Look at this. It's like, imagine like some drips. And the way to be a little more relaxed with your strokes, notice how I wasn't holding my pencil close to the tip, because what it does is that I try to be too careful and too controlled when I hold my pencil here. So when I want to be a little bit more loose with my strokes, try to hold it not here, but if you want to, but at least close to the end of your pencil. You know, I notice that you're going to be a little bit more relaxed with your wavy line or your strokes like that. So I'm just going to add, because remember, we can still fix this, right? So we're just building the foundation in here. You can still fix it a little bit later. Now the third one, I imagine this one would be a little squished because it's like the gravity, you know, so, and also it's going to melt a little faster at the bottom. So I can imagine that there's like a drip going on the sides, close to the side of the cone, just like that. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more, just so you can see my sketch in here. Oops, sorry guys. Is it now? Now? Okay, there. So there we have it. And then I'm going to start adding in my waves as well, or my melted part of the ice cream, but just wavy lines, just like that. And then I'll do it the same on the other side, where there's like some drips in there, and just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to clean up my sketches, erase that part, erase this little bit. We have that. All right, I think I'm going to erase this and lighten up as well. Now, my favorite eraser when it comes to lightening my sketch and just leave the perfect guide would be the kneaded eraser. This one is from Faber-Castell as well, and I'll show you a little bit of example. So you can just kind of like roll it on top of your art and see how much that faded. And so this strokes right here is just a perfect guide. Know where my second ice cream is, you know, without erasing completely my sketch, but just really lightening it. That would leave me with the perfect sketch. All right, let's work on the cone over here. From the top left of your cone, we're going to draw again some wavy line, but it's going to get wider, and then it's going to go, we're going to close it down here. So from here, I'm going to just draw this. It gets wider in there, and then we're almost going to go close it right here. So that's our waffle. Or you can just kind of go straight if you want to. Just adding my artistic touch in there. But this is it. So we have our sketch. I know it's really light, but the only thing that I'm going to change is notice how kind of like so perfect my circle here on top, or at least part of my circle, that I really want to change. Because really, if you look at the ice cream in real life, you know, it's melting, depends on how hot outside is, so it's not going to look super perfect like this. So I want to adjust this just a little bit. I didn't really erase it because I wanted to show you, so I just want to adjust that just a little bit to kind of like make it a bit more imperfect. So just kind of like, and see, look, I try not to make it perfect, and I'm still making it perfect. I'm telling you guys, the struggle is real. Just like that. Whatever. I'm just gonna go, let it go. Whew. Breathe it in and just accept it. Oops, this is the 8B. That's really dark. I'm just gonna, there. So it's kind of like making it imperfect to make it look more realistic instead of like cartoonish. Does that make sense? Maybe I'll add a bit more scoop in there, you know, kind of like a drip in there. So make your adjustments, and once you're happy with it, we can start coloring. Now, like what I said, I'm going to use the Albrecht Durer pencils. If you're using another medium, if you're using, you know, maybe just straight on watercolor, the techniques that I'll be doing might be a little different than yours, but you know what? Go ahead and just have fun and play. It's not about the medium, it's about that process. It really is. Okay. Now, over here where we're close the bottom of each of the scoop of ice cream, I'm just going to add like another wavy line just to show where my contrast is going to be, just very lightly. You might not be able to see it, but I'm just kind of like copying the wave also. I'm just going to go add that wavy part. Okay, I feel like my waffle cone is like super duper small. I made my ice cream so big. It's gonna look funky, but you know what? We're just gonna pretend. We're all friends here, so we don't judge, you know, no judgment. This is judgment-free zone. Okay, so we're gonna have fun. Now I'm happy with that top part, so I'm gonna go make it lighter. Make it lighter. All right, so the way I like to color things is I am gonna have a lightest, a medium, and then my dark value. So I have a light, medium, and dark. And when it comes to watercolor, you really want to also use the texture of the paper, because that would be your highlight, you know? So we want to work on that. We don't really want to cover the whole paper with colors, so we don't have to be overly careful. Now you decide which ice cream flavor you want to go first. I think I want to go stick to what I had in the sample that I created. So I'll do my strawberry first, and the same, I have a light, a medium value, and a dark. Okay, so I'll start with my lightest, and I'm gonna go color in my ice cream. Look, you don't even have to make this one perfect, you just have to color it in. Remember, the more you press, the more product you're going to apply in the paper. So if you want to have, since this is my lightest value, I'm trying not to add too much product, so just be mindful of that. Just like that. So, and then if you have some, what am I saying, a heat gun or a blow dryer, sometimes it really helps speed up the process. And this is another question that I get. Do you work from the top to bottom, from the bottom to the top? You know, I can really honestly say that I want to say that I work from the top to the bottom, because what problems is that if you start from the bottom, you're going to smear, right? Especially if you're like me, I don't really mind putting my hands on my canvas or on my paper. Now, I know many different artists gets an ache from that, but you know, I don't mind. But the thing is, if you want to, we want to work on layers. So the top, let it dry, and then you're working on the second part or your middle part of your canvas or your paper, and then we're going to work our way up from the top to the bottom. Okay, so while that is that's already applied, my lightest value of my pink, which is the Pink Madder Lake 129. I'm going to go ahead with my pistachio flavor, but this is the Cadmium Yellow Lemon 205. And the same process, I'm just going to apply my pencils in here. I think here, because considering I think I want my light source to be on top, so I am going to add a bit more extra product in here where it's going to give us some contrast already, but it's not as important because remember we're going to work in layers and we're going to add mid-tone in here and we're going to add the darkest as well. So you know what, I'm just going to leave it like that. All right. Then I'm going to move on with my chocolate flavor. This time my colors, I'm going to start with my raw umber and the walnut brown, but I'm going to start with the raw umber first. This is the 180. All right, then apply my colors. I think the longest part of this drawing or painting that we're going to do is the rendering. Again, the rendering would be, you know, to make it look a bit more realistic. We're going to add some detail, some light, the dark, you know, the highlights and the contrast. But that is also what makes it really, really beautiful. All right, so lay down all our colors. Next one for my waffle cone, I'm going to use the color Burnt Ochre. This is 187. You know, these pencils as well, they are very, very light fast, which means that your art will last 100 years or so. That's what it said on the website. Now, I haven't lived that long yet, you know, but they've been tested for light fastness. So that means that, you know, if one day you want to start selling your art, this is really a good option, good choice to use. Okay, so we have our first colors right now. Now I want to start adding in the middle value in here. So we want to decide where we want our middle value. Again, our light source is over here on the top. So I want the middle value to be, remember the crease that we kind of like added, you know, that wavy line that we added in here. So I want to start adding that, and also to the left side of the ice cream, the scoop of ice cream on the top. So we're building already the contrast. We're already introducing our middle color in here. So notice how I'm holding my pencils. I don't hold it like this. I'm holding it here so that I can cover a larger space. At the same time, I can be a bit more intentional when it comes to the pressure that I'm using when applying these pencils. All right, that's the middle. Hi, I'm going to add a little bit here, just a touch. We can always add a bit more later on. All right, we're moving on to the middle value of green. This time we want to add more here because that drip of the first scoop of ice cream is giving us some shadow over here to the top. So we want to add that middle value. And you know, this class is being recorded, so if I'm working a bit fast, it's because I really want to finish this with you today because there's so much that we're going to do. So that's my middle tone, and again, that crease of that wavy line that we added, I'm just going to apply it here without being overly careful, guys. You don't have to be, overly careful here. Just lay down your colors. All right, the next one is the middle color would be the Walnut Brown. So again, this one is going to cast some shadow over here. Now my only problem here is I want to make sure I know exactly where the drips are. So that's probably the only thing that I want to be careful about, is make sure that the drips will stay light, because that will be catching some light later on. So I want to be just slightly careful here, just like that. Now I'm using a cold press Arches watercolor paper. So as you can see, there's a lot of texture in here. So that's going to give us some really nice highlights later on as well. Yeah, reason why I was saying that is because if there are some parts of the class today that you feel like, oh, what did she do there again? Remember that this is recorded and you can watch it on Michael's YouTube channel to just kind of like go back in and refresh some of that memory that, oh, how I missed that part, you know. So this one I'm adding some to the bottom as well. And then that crease again and that part. I think with my chocolate though, this is my light and dark already. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of medium. I might use a little bit of black, although you know they say really not to use black because sometimes it appears to be flat, but I think it just depends on your application. I think we're going to be okay. All right, remember that crease part that we created here earlier for that waffle cone? I'm just going to highlight that. Might be hard to find it on because my sketch is like really light. I'm like having some troubles finding that, but I think it's there. And then here again to that drip, that's casting some shadows and some contrast. I'm just going to add that there. Now one thing I love about using watercolor pencils is that I am in charge of how much pigment there is really that I'm using. So I know that, and again, with everything in this life, with a lot of practice and a lot of trial and error, you're going to really understand your medium, you know, which no matter what you're using, whether it's pencils or watercolors or just, you know, graphite pencils, it just really depends on how much you play with them, because you know it's not always about the talent that you're born with. It's really about the dedication and your discipline and how much you play, allow yourself to play, allow yourself to make mistakes. Now this is what it looks like right now. It doesn't look like a whole lot of things, but could be, oh, that's it now. But you know, we're going to add magic to this, and we're going to start blending and working with these pencils like a regular watercolor. But of course, we've already applied the colors, and we're not going to do any dipping like that. So I'm just going to go wet my brush in here. All right. So I'll wait for you guys. Maybe you guys are still adding in your colors in there. But I'm going to go prep a little, and I'll have my paper towel on my side here because it's what's going to help me. Sometimes I pick up a little too much water, you know, just having the paper towel here by my side close to me. Sometimes I'm actually holding it because if you need to lift some of the pigments and you want to take it, you know, just kind of like wipe it here with the help of your handy dandy paper towel. Okay, I'm going to start with my middle, or everything here that's like slightly dark. I'm going to start and applying my water in there, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see. Look at the brightness of that color. Can you guys see? Look at that. Pop, boom, magic. There's that bright colors. So I'm just going to go apply. Just like that. See, look at that. Look. Oh, that's so crazy beautiful. And with this one, I'm going to try to really to not overly be careful. I'm just going to go apply like that. The only parts that I'll be careful would be over here where the two flavors are going to connect. But even that, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be crazy careful because I want this to be a bit more like lifelike, abstract-y, whimsical, you know, not clean, not perfect, but just really fun art. And then like that. So I'm still trying to get all the dark colors first, right there, and just like that. Notice how there's some parts that I'm leaving without water, because that is going to work as a highlights later on. So if you don't want to spread the water all throughout and just kind of like damp it and move it, and some area would be lighter than the rest, that's okay. You know, guys, when the Albrecht Durer pencils, when they dry, the colors are going to be permanent. So that is going to be fun because you can work in layers as well. So you want to make sure that your first layer would be how you want it to be, and then we can work on it later on and add our second layer there. Look how beautiful that is. Ah, so pretty. And as you can see, we've already established our, light and dark in here. My goodness. Okay, second one would be our green. Or if you want to, if you're afraid to blend in, so much, then work on the bottom part. You can do that. So if you feel like, I don't really want to blend the pink and the greens, then you just kind of like let it dry first. That's the only thing that you can do. Or work on this bottom and then let that dry and then come back to that. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go carefully color and blend here. Look at that. I have water in there. Olay, you're so special. I'm going to move my water closer here. Move that so you can see. And then just as careful as I can, I'm just going to blend my way through these drips from my pistachio ice cream. Now I'm craving for some ice cream. Great. Yum, yum. All right. And water. And then on the sides, you want to make sure that, kind of like play around if you feel like you want to add a little bit more shape or adjust your shape. Add some curves to there. You can. Know that you can, right? So I'm just moving on, getting all the darkest parts that we've applied. Start with that, kind of like what we did with the strawberry or the pink. And add here. Add some to that. That's, another thing that I love about using the watercolor pencils is that, first application as you're using it like a pencil, you can really establish your light and your dark right away. It's so fun because with watercolors, you really have to work very slowly because you have to let your first layer dry, With these, the application is so different because while applying and coloring in with your pencils, you can already establish your contrast, your highlights, which is really, really fun. All right, here, you know what? I'm having some troubles finding where my drips are, so I'm just kind of like really guess. The beautiful thing is that they're both brown, so I think we can get away with it. So we're just going to go color it in. I can see some drips in here, so I'm just imagining. So imagine your way through your drips as well. Kind of like, ooh, I can see a drip in here. So just work with me here. I can see that parts of the waffle cone is blending, which, okay, it's all right. There. Water in there. I feel like this drip is like super big. You know what? Is okay. And I feel I'm gonna add like a little bit more shape in here so it doesn't look so perfect. So I'm just moving as I go, and then I'm leaving parts of it again intentionally so that I can create like highlights in there so the texture or parts of the paper are peeking through. So I'm good with that. I think I'm gonna go clean this up. Now again, like what I said, if you have some blow dryer, then you can use it to dry areas before you move along. But I think I'm okay. Even though we, even if we have a little bit of blends in here, I think I'm gonna live. So I'm just gonna go start adding in here. But later on, I'm going to use, and I think it's gonna add some artistic anyways to touch to this anyways, because the ice cream in real life, they're really going to melt and, bleed together. So it just makes sense because they're melting and they're gonna touch each other. And those flavors are gonna combine and, ooh, yummy. All the yumminess. I am also curious to know, what is your favorite ice cream? I am Rocky Road through and through, but I also love, gosh, what is this from? I can't think of the name right now. It's not pistachio, but another pecan. Oh my gosh, it is so yummy. So yeah, Rocky Road, and definitely I love the pecan. It's so good. Oreo, oh, you're like my daughter loves cookies and cream. Salted caramel sounds really good. Oh, we have 2 for cookies and cream. Okay. Dole Whip Raspberry. That sounds really refreshing right now. That sounds good. Cherry Vanilla. Oh, you know what? I don't think I've ever tried that before. I think I'm going to have to try it. So just drop your favorite ice cream in there because I have all summer long to try all your favorite ice creams. Rum and raisins. Lisa, is that yummy? That sounds really good, actually. So another cookie dough. Oh, yes, Melinda, that sounds really good too. The cookie dough. So as you can see, guys, here we have some blends, but look how, remember, it added some charm to this painting. I think I love it. I'm all for this. I'm all for this blends, but that's watercolor. That's the beauty of the watercolor, is that the colors are blending and bleeding, moving where the water is, and that's part of the beauty of that. It looks, I know, I know stuff. I am actually getting hungry just looking at this ice cream. My goodness gracious. Okay, so we're gonna render a little bit, but I'm gonna go finish this part right here of my waffle cone before we start rendering, but it's looking really yummy already. Green tea. Oh, we can pretend that this is green tea instead of like pistachio. Green tea would be good with chocolate, I think. I mean, yeah, I think so. This time, I'm going to start with the lightest color. My lightest. Like that. I'll work on the... And I'm also going to add a little bit of like wave. Look at my... Because I don't want it to be like perfect, but I don't want it overly wavy also. But we want to add that texture, of that waffle. Because it isn't perfect. So you want to add a little bit of like jagged lines, but just a little bit. Not, over the top. But just to show that it's not a perfect, upside down triangle. That's all we want. Cold Stone Creamery. Sounds yummy. It sounds really good, guys. Okay, so we're just, again, with this one, I'm starting with the lightest, all right? I'm just adding with the light. And again, I'll do the same thing. I'll add some jagged lines on the side. I'm going to go zoom in just so you can see what I'm saying. See how I added just a little bit of that jagged lines there? And that's what I'm going to do onto the right side as well. So just add here. And just this time, because I want a little bit of control, I'm holding my brush close to the tip, right? So I'm going to pick up some of that pigment just so I can bring it over here and just add like that. Just a little. You've got to live a little, eat more ice cream, because life is short. Eat all the ice cream. It's okay. Ooh, Ooh, and then this time I am hitting those the burnt ochre, and just let it blend. It's okay. Just like that. This is the number 5, round number 5. So as you can see with the number 5, it is my favorite size because you can still do, you know, some small fine details with it, but you can still create and cover a wide area or a larger area because it's still, you can still go as wide as you can. You just kind of like play around with your pressure while you're using it, you know, kind of like focus on the tip if you want to go make some details, and then use the belly of the brush or the body of the brush to cover like a wider area. Look at this. This is already so good. I mean, it's already looking so perfect. And look how the colors are blending on that side. I feel like I want to add a little bit more colors in here. So did we use, I think we used the burnt ochre. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that burnt ochre. Now, when I'm doing this, my suggestion is to never let the wood get wet. If you want to do this and activate it, just make sure that you're really just picking up the colors. You don't want that wood to get wet as much as you can, because I really highly suggest to be just careful. I know some people, I've seen it's like they're dipping their pen. I don't recommend doing that. So just, I'm really concentrating on just the pigment or the pencil itself, because you don't want to break that that bond. So just be careful and be mindful. We're just picking up a little bit. Or what you can also do is grab, you know, an extra watercolor paper like this and just apply it, wet it, and pick up, you know, make it like your own palette, just like that. Oh, mango ice cream. Okay, I have a question. I am Filipino, so I have a question here. Do we have some friends from California? Have you ever had ube ice cream? Ube ice cream, if you have like Asian, you know, grocery store ube ice cream, it's a purple yam. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it before, I highly recommend purple yam ice cream or the ube ice cream. And then message me on social media and let me know how much you love it, okay? I'm curious. Okay, so this time, while you guys are still coloring, I'm gonna go dry some of my, especially the waffle right here, because we're going to render a lot in the waffle cone. Now when you're doing this, it's going to warp your paper. It's just something that you really cannot, you know, really help it. So what I always do is, even though it warps, I just kind of like put in books on top of my artwork and then just let it sit, but let it dry first before you put the books. And then let it just, you know, let it sit there for a little bit. Right, this is cheating, but you know, we only have a limited time, so I want to make sure that we'll be able to render and add some contrast, some realism in here, right? So remember that wavy line that we've added earlier, you know, it's not there, it's not as visible as it was earlier, so because we've blended the colors. So we want to establish that again, and I feel like this paper is still a little bit wet. So this is my middle tone color. This is the middle purple pink. Definitely still wet because this is an arches and it really holds the moisture. Beautiful. So just, then I'm going to add magenta color, which is my darkest value. And I'm just going to add in, just, this is where the small round brush would come in when adding details. I feel like it's really much better to use smaller, finer brush in here, smaller tip brush. Now, if this is wet, sometimes it's really hard to add in another color because I can really feel that it's still very wet. So excuse me while I just dry it. Okay, I'll be back. Hold on. All right, this is the beauty of Arches. It really holds a lot of moisture and it will give you a lot of time to blend. But sometimes when you're in a hurry, you're like, just dry already. Okay, I see Oreo with strawberry ice cream. Oh man, that sounds really good just about now. That sounds good. Yes. Okay, you saw the purple. Oh, please try it. Let me know how if you like it, okay? Because it's one of my favorite ice creams. I can't believe I forgot it when I said Rocky Road, but you know, it's mango, Filipino mango ice cream, guys. I promise you, it is so good. It's really, really good. You've had ube, Gabriel? Oh, I'm so glad to hear that you love it. It's like milky and then, right? It's really hard to explain it, but it's so good. It's so good. Okay, so now I'm just establishing all my contrast and details again. So this is part of our rendering. We want to start adding in some of that colors and that details that we may have lost from blending the pigments and our colors in there. So we just want to establish those details again. And isn't this beautiful? Because again, we can use it as regular pencils and then you can blend it like watercolors. It's so fun to use these pencils. Ube is, yes, Marisa, please let me know how you like it, okay? All right. And then over here as well, I'm going to now use my darkest, which is the leaf green. And I'm just going to add it over here. Now what we can actually do as well is that maybe use it almost like a watercolor. Instead of like applying it, just pick up the colors from a palette, you know, another piece of paper, or just, you know, with a wet brush. We can do that so that we don't have to kind of like use so much water. But since I applied it already, I'm going to start blending it. And while this is still wet, I'm going to add and introduce another color, which is my darkest green, which is the pine green. And I think that's what's going to help make this pistachio ice cream pop, because we're going to introduce like a really dark value of green in here. It's the pine green. And look, the bottom layer, because it's dry, it's not going to move. That's the beauty of the Albrecht Durer pencils. So if you're happy with the underneath, you know, your base watercolors, if you've, you know, really did the work by applying the light and the middle color, the less the work you're going to have to do when it comes to rendering. So this is the pine green. I'm just going to grab my number 5 and then I'm just going to concentrate on the tip of the pencil, and then we're really just going to add that. See that? And my paper is wet because I've applied the leaf green and then blended it, and the water is still in here, so it helps those pigment to bloom and travel. but it's still in a controlled manner. Gosh, this Arches watercolor paper is just absolutely divine. I mean, I know it's, it can get really expensive, but you're gonna fall in love with watercolors if you use the right tools. Because I remember just struggling when I was, in the beginning phase of my practice, and the whole time it wasn't just me. I mean, it was part of the tools that I'm using. The tools that I'm using was a big part of it as well. So invest in yourself, guys, because it's just, if you made a mistake, it's just paper. I mean, really, it's okay. You're special. Allow yourself to use the nice art supplies and have fun with it. Okay, I'm going to leave it just like this for now and let it dry naturally. And I'm going to go start blending the dark here because time is running out again. Why? I'm going to go move a little faster here just so I can blend it. And then we're going to render the waffle cone because I think this is one thing that you can work on later on, as long as you see how I would start adding in the textures. Even if we don't finish all the rectangles and the squares to add the pattern, you can continue working on it. As long as you see me do the techniques, I think you can just keep adding. Now here, I don't necessarily like any of those sharp blends, so I'm just adding a little bit of water and just blending that. All right, so I'm going to start adding textures in here. So I'm going to grab my burnt sienna, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some imperfect rectangles, or maybe squares, depending on how big your waffle. Mine is like so small. I don't know what happened to my waffle cone, but the more ice cream, the better. So over here in some of the areas where it's just kind of like parts of the rectangle will be there. This time, don't make it so perfect. You don't have to. Just kind of like add those rectangles in there. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see. Just like that. And then I'm going to add the walnut brown in some of the areas, especially here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shade in parts of the rectangle, just like this. The upper part of that. Just like that. So you don't want to shade the whole thing, just almost like 3 sides. Or just one corner. Just like that. Because you want to establish the shape without having to do the whole shape, because we're doing that. We're establishing the shape by just adding the contrast or the shadows. And automatically we're going to leave it to our audience, the eyes of our audience, to finish, the whole shape. So we're going to leave something for their imagination. So we're almost just like doing the one corner. Just like this. Now we're going to use this small round brush. This time I'm going to look for my paper towel because I want to make sure I don't use too much water. Just enough, so I may dab a little bit of that to my paper towel just so I can blend this up. And notice how we're just going to do it like this. So you're building the shape without having to draw it, right? So you're just adding a little bit of contrast. And that will be more than enough. So we're just going to do that. And then I told you the rendering part is always, always, always the one that takes forever. But, you know, so you can keep blending and rendering and all that. Make sure that you kind of like add more contrast here in your brown later on. Add your lines, add some textures and contrast in here again. That jaggedy line that we added later, you can use your darkest value to do that in here as well. So all these little details is what makes the art. But then again, not always, because most of the time it's about the process. It's about how much fun you've had while you're creating this. You know, it's how much you've learned, how much joy you've felt, and how much hunger and how much cravings we've felt drawing this ice cream sundae today. My goodness. But I've had so much fun, and I hope you did too. Again, if you have any questions that I may have not, you know, talked about today, aside from all the flavors of ice creams, you can reach out, you know, through my social media. It's at Mommy Lay. You say hi, say hello, show me what you've created today, or any questions that you may have other than math. I got you though. But on behalf of Faber-Castell USA and Michael Stores, we thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I hope that this was a whole lot of fun and sweetness. Until next week, don't forget to check out Michael's website and sign up for the class. We're looking forward to seeing and being with you again and creating with you. As always, my name is Slay. Stay creative and stay happy. See you guys next week. Bye.